back to the sort of importance of building a personal brand from a young age, because a lot of the people you do work with are on the younger side, right?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Where do you sort of see that importance in regards to building something that, maybe isn't only based on their on-field or on-court performance, and how should these sort of athletes position themselves from that personal brand standpoint, utilizing social for their long-term success?
For sure. I mean, to your point, you leverage what you're doing on court, you leverage what you're doing on field to kind of help you grow your brand, help you grow your star, help, people care about you because of basketball or football, but you can show them the other side of who you are and what you're doing and take advantage of the fact that they care about you in the first place. And I think for me, when I approach the brand awareness, when I approach brand building, it's always identifying the North Star. And that comes from the player. But like, what do you care about? What do you hope to accomplish? Are we growing your following and growing your brand name and your awareness so you can make more marketing money? There's nothing wrong with that. But is that the case? Cool. Are we doing it because you want to be a rock and a pillar in your community and you want to be a philanthropist and you want to give back as much as possible? So the bigger your social following, the bigger your megaphone, the bigger difference we can make. Love that. Great. Incredible. And do you just want to build your brand because you're not sure your why yet, but you have this amazing opportunity, and in 3 years or 5 years or 10 or 15 years, it'll be gone. So take advantage of it for the moment so that when you do know what you want to do with it, you can go ahead and do that. And, so far, those are kind of the 3 angles that I've seen, and I appreciate all of them. I think the biggest thing, though, is the guys and the women have to genuinely want to do it, right? Like, it's not like my agent wants me to create a brand or like so-and-so. It's like, no, like if you want it to happen, if you want to be successful at it, it's gotta come from here. It's gotta come from here. Like, you really have to put your chest into it. You gotta want to do it. And that doesn't have to mean it's active, right? I could do it for you. Somebody can do it for you, probably even better than me. It just means that you have to know what goes into it, from a social perspective, from a digital perspective, from a speaking perspective, from a content perspective. Like, you just have to know that, like, it doesn't just happen because you want it to happen. There's steps involved and there's work involved. And like, are you down for the ride for real? And if you are, honestly, it doesn't matter what sport you play. It doesn't matter how good you are. We can maximize that. And that's me and 1,000 other people. But, we can make that happen for you. And if you don't, or you're not ready, that's cool. Like, focus on the field work, focus on the court work. Let that speak for you for now. And I have a client, I won't even name right now, but everyone knows who he is. And his whole thing was his first couple of years in the league, in the NFL, he just focused on being the best player he could be. And he feels like he did that, right? He and his family did that. They really left their mark on the field. And it's like, okay, now I can take a breath. And I feel like I'm still focusing as hard as ever on the field, but people know that now. They know me as a great player or a good player. Now I can also put a little bit of effort and energy into like maximizing that moment and creating a brand around it. And for him, a lot of it is philanthropy, and entrepreneurship. And so it's like, great, like, people won't be confused and think that I'm not focusing on the game anymore. Like, no, they know I'm focused on the game, and now they won't judge me if they see that I'm also posting about other things. And I think, honestly, that's a great perspective. Unless you are that dude, like as a rookie, focus on being great. Focus on being great at the number one thing. And everything else is everything else. And we can make it work for you when the time is right. Because again, if you're focused on all that other stuff and you're not performing on the court, it's not really going to execute. It's not really going to execute. And, that's kind of like my mindset on it, is going back to the point, make moments happen. And then we can go and execute on them with the game plan that we've already created. But you got to make those moments happen. If you're a football player, those moments start on the field. A basketball player, they start on the hardwood. A baseball player, they start on the diamond. Golfer, they start on the 18th. And make those moments happen, create them. And then me and a bunch of my peers and people like you are out there ready to help you execute on the game plan. But it starts with the moment.
100%. And I think all of those things are applicable to things outside of sports too, right? Like, just to give other, contextual examples. Like, if you're a poet, you're Amanda, right? And you speak at the inauguration, she was ready and she capitalized on the opportunity. And then, people were able to execute on her being able to execute. It's like the two layers of execution. You show up, like, You know, I'll use a podcast example. Elon Musk goes on Joe Rogan's podcast. He does a great job. A lot of the other stuff takes care of itself. And then, you know, it'll snowball if you have the right team and right people around you into greater and better opportunities than ever before. And 100% in sports, it's very directly correlated. And I think it's just as much so for people, really anybody in their day to day, like whatever they love or are great at. Like you even have that for your own, like you executing on somebody else's execution is the same thing for you.
Yeah, that's my execution. And yeah, for sure. And I think to your point, like sports is the greatest metaphor for life. So we're using sports examples, and that's the world I inhabit. But it applies to business, parenthood. You know, there's nothing it doesn't apply to in some form or fashion. And so, look, yeah, one of the greatest keys to life is being ready, staying ready, getting ready. You never know when that moment's going to come, when that luck's going to come, when that break's going to come. And you go out and crush it because you're ready for it, you know. And so it is, man. You can usually see who is ready, who isn't ready, you know, and the work speaks for itself.
100,000%.